ClassHorrorCast. We'll make sure you're not bored to death, but all your friends have disappeared, and you're the last one left. If you want to live, I suggest not doing drugs and having sex. Run through the forest grasping for breath, as you're chased by a maniac wearing a mask of flesh, tripping over dead friends. This isn't over until you get revenge. Final girls try to survive in a violent world. It's eye for an eye. Hide behind doors, lying underneath beds, trying to bide your time and find your strength, and figure out how much time it takes to escape before it's too late, or come face to face with a grim fate. Welcome to ClassHorrorCast. Let's see how long you last as you torture to death. So come join your host Aran and Tom as we bring you a podcast that will leave you laughing in a body bag or a blood bath. Welcome to ClassHorrorCast. Let's see how long you last.
Welcome back, everybody. I might be slightly biased by saying this, but I think that's my new favorite intro now.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, courtesy of your friendly neighborhood Tomcat. Welcome back, everybody. We will get to Tom's appearance in a second. Apologies. It's been a while. It's been a couple of weeks. I had to take some time away for fucking medical reasons. I've been extremely unwell, and I'm still probably not out of the woods yet, but not to worry, I'm not dead yet, so that's good. And yeah, I'm excited to get back to recording. I think we're going to I am going to start prioritizing my stuff now, and maybe take some time away from other things that I do, and prioritize the show and Tom showing what we do on here. And yeah, it just feels good to be back, to be honest.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Tom, why don't you elaborate on your... So for the audio listeners, Tom is wearing a shirt, some kind of a waistcoat, I think. These like Sherlock Holmes looking glasses and a Peaky Blinders hat.
Yeah, I heard that I wasn't serious enough, that we have to take things a little more serious. You know, I guess I didn't know, but I guess talking about a hockey mask wearing maniac that chops up teenagers in ridiculous ways because they're doing drugs and having sex is very serious, and we should be taking it very seriously. So if you can see me, I look pretty serious.
You do. I'll give you that. Is this a new era of Tom?
Yeah, I'm just going to be super serious on the show from now on, just to appease the one loser that decided to leave a comment and saying that I was too goofy. So,
you know, I've had a couple of them the last while, not specifically about you, but just like about the show in general, which has been quite strange that that there's like, I don't know if you call it hate or whatever, but I've definitely had more comments than usual that are negative, or that kind of like, oh, this show is garbage, or this doesn't make any, these opinions or these views suck or don't make sense. It's like, it's all fun and games, guys. Relax.
It is just movies, you know, and we're not trying to do the same thing as everybody else, which is super dry and serious, just cutting straight to the point, not being able to have fun on it. But people that don't produce shows a lot of times like to chime in, you know, and we're trying to do something different. And if you don't like it, you know, you should make your own show. Try it. See how well you do.
It's that thing of like,
as well as this.
The armchair experts. It's like, do you ever see those like memes of like dudes who say, I remember it used to be a big thing at the time, like when everyone was like shitting on McGregor when he was kind of on his decline. And like, there's like memes of like a big fat dude with like a wife beater on, and like his like hairy belly is sticking out at the bottom of it, and he has like piss stained white fronts, and he's eating like a bag of chips and drinking a beer. And he's like, "Oh, I wouldn't get choked out. I just like stand up and punch him."
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone has opinions. Everyone has assholes. They both spew out shit, I guess. I do the same thing. But I have a platform to do so. Where's your platform? There's a rapper called Apathy, and one of his albums was called Where's Your Album? So I think that is quite telling.
That kind of sums it up.
Yeah.
In fairness.
Really. So and you know, who knows how long I'll be serious, but seriously, we're talking about movies that are most times extremely goofy, outlandish, and not serious in any way, shape, or form.
But I suppose, to be fair, right, you have picked the perfect episode to switch into serious mode, considering this is probably the most serious movie in the
100%.
Friday the 13th franchise, which is 2001's Jason X. So
Should have
just
got
to,
an Academy Award.
Yeah.
The chick that plays the robot with those fake
Oh.
nipples, she should have got an Academy Award.
just to sum it up for people, if you have been living under a rock, or maybe you weren't born in 2001 and you're listening to this show,
If you're living in Iraq, you get like the Arabic like copyright version.
I wonder what it's called in somewhere like Iraq.
Muhammad X. Sorry.
Jesus
I was
Christ.
trying to be serious and I couldn't.
So we didn't get very far, which is crazy. So yeah, like I said, this is the most serious installment of the Friday the 13th franchise. Just to sum it up for everybody, if you haven't ever seen the movie, or maybe you have seen the movie and you're like, wait, what? So the year is 2455. Earth is uninhabitable and humanity has moved to a new planet, which has a really cool name, Earth 2. During a research expedition to the old Earth, a team discover the frozen body of Jason Voorhees. They bring him aboard their spaceship, where he thaws out and resumes his killing spree. Jason is eventually upgraded to a more powerful form known as Uber Jason, making him even more unstoppable. The survivors must find a way to defeat him before he reaches the new planet and continues his massacre.
Is the chick on the blade even in the movie? Because I don't think she is.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. And I remember hearing that, I think, in the director's commentary where they talked about that. We're like, yeah, no, that's not even like.
Just some porn star we picked out.
Yeah, just put a chick on it. It's like, yeah, that looks good. To be fair, it does look good.
I always wanted to get Uber Jason for the game, and you couldn't get him or whatever. Like, would have been a fun time. You could play him in like one of the behind the scenes side missions or whatever, but it's too bad. That
They
game had
brought
so
him
much
into like the
potential.
actual game, did they?
You could walk around and like be him for a second. I think I can't remember. That game had great potential. Yeah, there it is.
On screen?
Yeah.
Strange.
I know it would have been cool for the game, but I didn't
Yeah.
get it done. It's gonna be hard
That's
to
a
be
pity.
serious. What did you think about his appearance? Not the Uber Jason. We can talk about that later. But just his appearance in the film overall of like the look of Jason.
Before like they turn him into that weird like space thing.
Yeah, before Space Jason shows up.
Do you know what? I actually didn't mind it. Now I will say, maybe I focused on it a little bit more. I couldn't help but feel, I rewatched it again last night, and I couldn't help but feel that there's a part where he stands up from the like that table or that bed or whatever he's lying on, that steel slab thing.
Mhm.
And like he starts to like do his thing or whatever. And I don't know, I couldn't help it, like he kind of looked like he had the build of like Major Chip Hazard.
Yeah.
It looked like he was like 4 feet tall, but like 6 feet wide.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's funny because I was like, I was like, it's definitely Kane Hodder. You like instantly catch that. I don't know. It just his walk, his kind of his swagger, you could say. Kane Hodder's swagger is very much the same in much movies. Wow, you never really get to see him without the mask. It looks pretty gnarly.
Yeah, it
And
does, right?
Formed head thing, because from like the one where he goes to hell is kind of around. It's kind of the same thing where it's like the mask has like fused to his face.
Even you know what I found actually quite disgusting as well was you know the part where she's like like dissecting it from his face or whatever, like trying
Yeah.
to cut away at the mask. And there's all like that. Is it like black?
Yeah, it's all like goo or whatever.
All that shit coming out of his head or his face or whatever is quite sick. But it's weird because she cuts the mask off and then she's like, she looks at him and she's like, huh. And then she just puts it back on.
He would not be very good at eating pussy.
No
Those
lips.
choppers, man. I don't know, unless some chicks are into that stuff. Who knows? But
Yeah, you could, like nibble.
yeah, it's if you're not watching, we're showing like his actual mask, like the what'd you call that? The silicone kind of mask that is made for his face, and it's pretty gnarly looking. They did a good job. You don't really see it all the time they spent on that. It looks more mashed up when you see him like take off the mask.
And even from if anybody cares to listen to the director's commentary, I think it's free on YouTube. It's just up there as like an audio track. And I put it on when I was like driving to and from somewhere. And like they kind of focused on like that first bit and how Jason looked and the creation of his face and all that stuff quite a bit. And they seemed quite excited by it. But then when you watch the movie, it doesn't really translate because it seems like they can't wait to kind of get past that and go, yeah, whatever, Uber Jason, space, go away.
I know. This is super 90s vibe. Very 90s, early 2000s, you could say, like right in that. I would say late 90s. I mean early 2000s, but that whole vibe of the music when they're like, oh, everything's synthetic now. And it just, you can hear the music in the camera. Everything looks like it's cheaply made.
There's I kept writing down last night rewatching it. Like every time we went away from like like a kill scene or something directly involving Jason, I was like, this feels like some weird, like really bad, like shitty sci-fi movie mixed with like some sort of like Hallmarky daytime movie. It's so weird, man.
Yeah, it in the whole the music, the vibe, the camera, like I said, it looks like remember that channel Sci-Fi? They probably still exist. But like just a movie that was made for that channel. And then they're like, "Oh, we got the copyright for Jason for a day. Let's just see what happens."
Just like put Jason in somewhere and it'll be fine. So I'm just going to run off some of the stats before we get into another little bit. So, it was released, I think worldwide, April 26, 2002, directed by James Isaac, produced by Noel Cunningham, screenplay and story by Todd Farmer. Let's see, who else have we got here? Produced by Crystal Lake Entertainment, distributed by New Line, runtime of 91 minutes, estimated budget of anywhere between 11 to 14 million, and it only grossed 17.1 million.
It's not good.
That's nearly like not worth making.
That's not good at all.
To be honest.
What do you remember where you were when you first watched this?
Whew. I was trying to like picture the first time I watched it. Can you remember?
God, it's like the same story that I always tell about me about that friend Austin. That I remember the cover, seeing the cover, and thinking it was so cool looking, man. Like, I thought it was so. When did this come out? 2002. 2002. Yeah, so very early 2000. That's why it's like still got kind of that 90s vibe to some extent, but right at the end, like tail end. I remember me and him. I think we rented it from like the convenience store, right? I used to love doing that, where you just go to the convenience store and they would rent it. They would give us, especially when we started hitting like 12, 13, they didn't care, right? They'll rent it to us. It would give like our parents number or whatever. And then maybe, I don't remember if they got charged for it. But then, I sit down and it was like, I was young enough to still enjoy it and find it scary. It is funny because I had a guest on Stranger Podcast, and I was talking about our show and how we just did the Friday 13th deep dives. And he's like, man, they used to be like scary when I was a kid. And he's like, then you rewatch them and it's like not even close to the same as how you perceived it when you were younger. And I feel like it was kind of like this for this one, where I'm like, I liked it. Like there's scenes that are memorable to me. The guy with the nipple clamps always stuck with me. I was like, why is he doing that? You know, the nipples falling off. Another weird thing about nipples. And there's the head smash scene, very memorable. There is some decent kills, I'll admit that. The frozen head and then smashing her face onto the metal counter was pretty decent. But yeah, I remember just being, we're young and it was like it was a fun time.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I can't pinpoint exactly the first time that I saw this, but it was one of those movies where I think the memory I had in my head of like how good it was versus like when I rewatched it a couple of times, I was like, whoa, this is
so different.
This shit was like kind of good. I will say I agree with that head smash, face smash scene. I love how how would I say it? How aggressive they make him in that scene. Like he puts the head in like the fucking shit, whatever it is, and freezes the face. But then when he smashes it, it really makes it seem aggressive because when he comes back up with the smashed up body, he just like fucks it away.
Yeah, just tosses it.
Which I like.
It is it's so fun because I don't know. I just remember it being like obviously, and I still kind of like it. But this is the same thing of like when we get to Freddy versus Jason next is the idea of like the cover really sold me. And I remember I think I'm pretty sure I looked at the website, like just or whatever website they have running to promote the movie, and I was so like intrigued and excited because I'm like, why is he wearing this weird mask? But realistically, if I compare Leprechaun, if you haven't listened to our deep dive on that, Goes to Space to Jason X, to me, they're kind of neck and neck of how terrible they both are. Realistically, if you're just being objective, and I show some alien in these movies, right? Guy comes from outer space. Doesn't know what Jason is, and I show him this, and I show him Leprechaun in space, right? And then I show him Hellraiser in space. And then I feel like they're all kind of tied. I haven't even, not gonna lie, I think I've watched the Hellraiser one in space like one time. I couldn't even like get through it. I was like, this is so bad. But I feel like at some point we should just do a commentary on it because those are those movies I didn't give a chance.
Do you know what? Out of all the spacey ones, the Hellraiser one is probably the one I like the most that went to space. And then this. And I feel like Leprechaun in space will forever be my bottom out of any fucking space.
It is so dumb, but hey, there's that scene where he gets giant and the CGI is terrible and it just makes it for a great film.
It's just shockingly bad. Yeah, and I also had written down kind of like what you just said. That scene where the dude is like has the nipple clamps on and she's like that whole thing, I was like, what is going on?
Why do you need that? Like, why is that even in the film, man? It's to be stupid.
Yeah, and it's acted so badly on top of that. I'm like, what is this shit?
There's a lot of like, you want like, I'm sure people think I'm cringy. That's fine. I can deal with that. I think cringe could sell. I'm just pretty much being my old goofy self and always have been, just myself to the core and never try to play a character. But I do play characters, you could say, on the show. But there's so many cheesy parts. It's so cheese, man, and so cringe, and a lot of cringe. Sound like some millennial woman. It is weird. Like there is cringy parts. It's so cringe of like certain scenes where I'm like, when like the robot chick is like, let's dance or whatever, and she gets, I got upgraded. That's so bad, man.
And she is, whoever told her she had a good like robotic impression or whatever, or android impression, is fucking like there's a part where remember they're like the chick they find or whatever. I can't even remember the character's names, to be honest with you. That chick they find with Jason, and she comes down to like the main lobby of the ship or whatever. And the guy is like reintroducing
from, like 400 years ago or whatever.
Yeah. And like the guy is like reintroducing all the characters. He's like, well, I'm sure you've met Sergeant fucking whatever and Professor whatever and all this stuff. And that weird bionic chick or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sure you've met like our synthetic android or whatever. She's not real or something like that." And like your Wanda's trying to be all like she's like going like, "I
I
am real,"
know.
and I'm like, "Oh God, you fucking hell, this is awful."
It's so bad, dude. And there's so many like I don't know. They could have. Okay, that's why I'm always like, we got what we got. I've said this a million times on the show. We got what we got. You gotta enjoy it for what it is. But I just kind of wish that it was better. Like a lot of these movies fail. There's a lot of different components of why they wouldn't make money or why people would view them as trashy films. But a lot of it does come down to the acting. But even like I wrote down, I'm like, the film quality is definitely early 2000s. What the fuck happened to cameras? Because what happened from like the 90s cameras? It's like think about how Scream is filmed, or even Urban Legend, or some of those movies. And then you go to like Jason X, where it's like it looks like they're using a camcorder, like some 1080 920 camcorder. Like and it just I don't know. I'm like, what? You see this in a bunch of movies right in the early 2000s. They just maybe upgrade to where it's not like a tape; it's maybe a DVD that they're filming with, and it does not look good in my opinion.
And it has this real and I don't know the only way I can explain it is like those like daytime movies or whatever, but like
Yes,
it has
yes.
this kind of feeling of like
Passions, bro.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the fucking the angle it's shot at weird angles, but it also seems like that the camera's not stabilized on like a proper gimbal or something. It
No.
has this weird like fucking
Do you know what Passions is? I think that's what the show's called.
no.
Oh man, it was it was like a daytime show, like like a what's that called? Kind of like a soap opera. And it had like it's so weird. It just like the film quality makes you think of it. But you know the kid that plays the Grinch, and the kid Grinch in the movie.
Okay, yeah.
It's him, but he's like this doll. Her doll comes to life. Timmy. It's like this
Okay.
weird supernatural like soap opera. It's so weird, man. And it's filmed kind of the same way. I'm surprised you've never seen it. I'm sure that someone's like, I loved Passions. But I don't know, man. It's a weird show.
Yeah, it's really jarring as well. Um So, in case you were wondering, or you couldn't already guess, Jason X received mixed to negative reviews from critics,
Of
but
course.
has, like all of these movies, and not just Friday the 13th, but horror movies in general, but has since
Oh,
gained a cult following for its campy sci-fi setting and creative kills. Some appreciated its self-awareness and humor, while others criticized it from straying too far away from the franchise's original roots.
yeah, and at the beginning, I did like that it goes right into like brutal Jason. Like the way he kills, he's just like just going full tilt, just slaughtering people, and I kind of dig that. And then you have that stoner kid from Harold and Kumar. Remember that one kid that gets his arm chopped off? I always love that scene because this is funny, right? You think about like everyone listening. Remember when you're like 12, right? Just remember that time, right? Everything's new to you. You're kind of hitting through puberty. You kind of like you think you're kind of growing up a bit because now you're a preteen, and then it's just like those scenes. Probably we're just probably like ha ha ha, like just laughing like stupid little kids. But that kid, he's a weird looking kid. I always like him in Harold Kumar. Where he's like, "Have you seen an Asian guy?" And he's like, "Only when I open my eyes," because he's like going to that Asian school.
It's just like just the whole like
That kid's off of like a YTV show or something too. I think.
I will say like I do enjoy most of the kills.
Yeah, I
Um,
would say that.
that's definitely one plus. Um, I kind of only give a shit about the movie when Jason is directly in the scene.
Yeah.
Otherwise I found myself like when they're doing all that, and I get it. Look, they have to set the scene. There has to be like exposition where he's explaining what's going on and all that shit. But like, I
It's
found
acted
myself
so
just going
poorly.
like, wow, it's so incredibly badly acted that I can't pay
Yes.
attention. It's not even the fact that like I'm sure that the screenplay is probably not up to scratch either, but it's just how awful the actors are at interacting with each other that I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even this could be the coolest shit ever. And I like can't pay attention because you're so bad at like delivering lines.
Even like some of the graphics and like the ships are hooking on or whatever, and they show the
Oh
ship,
god.
it's so bad, man. I'm like, this could have waited. I don't know. Why'd you like? I don't get with this obsession with like now it's 2000 or 1999 or 19 because there's some movies that are done like 1998 where it's like just as we're getting to the 2000s, everyone's like space movies for everything, and I'm like, why? Like you could have done. They could have spent the money on doing. They're like, we gotta do something different. There's so many different angles that you could have taken for a new Jason movie. Especially after Jason Goes to Hell is horrible. Watch it on the Patreon though. You can watch it with us. It's fun. But it's so bad. But like we said about that movie, if you guys didn't catch it on the Patreon, it's like it was fun but if you took the Jason out of it, it's a different type of movie. You would not like it's just make it its own thing. People getting possessed or whatever. But like this, I'm like, why are we throwing everyone in space, man? It's like Hellraiser and everyone in space.
Even
Man.
like, and there's so much like
do Freddy in space, man. So
actually, is he like one of the only ones that survived not having to go to space?
Or weirdly, because you think they would after they made him have a kid and he's like pregnant and whatever.
You would have thought like he would have been like probably the top target to go to space.
Yeah, I know. Send Robert Englund to space and have him like invade people's dreams in their sleeper cells or whatever the hell, in their frozen tubes that they're in. Like,
I mean, like we did we at one point see Freddy fly around on a witch's broom?
but that's fun. That's fun though.
But it's like that feels like the guy that should end up in space for sure.
For sure, because he's so goofy. And yeah, that was Freddy's Dead. Everyone hates that movie, but I love it. I was actually just talking about on my show how Alice Cooper is like his dad and beats him, and then one day he just has enough. We're talking about Richard Ramirez. I was like, he's got enough, man, you know, and then he starts hitting his dad back. It's just like, well, the cycle of life, man.
Another thing I had written down as well, that what's the name of that main guy who's like
I don't know.
The guy in the suit.
I don't like it. He's off of other stuff.
The nipple clamp dude.
Yeah.
I don't know what his name is.
David Cronenberg. Wow, that's David Cronenberg. Weird.
Dr. Wimmer. That's it. Yeah, David Cronenberg. So he done So he done that as like a favor.
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah, which is really weird. It was his idea apparently. But yeah, like there was just another one of those things like where he, you know, that scene where he rings the other guy or like talks to him on that little fucking telecommunications thing, and he's like, oh, I have specimens from 400 years ago.
Yeah.
And like the other dude is like, whatever, you know, 250 years old, 400 years old, it's garbage, who cares? And then he says something about like, oh, we picked him up from like Earth 1 or whatever. And the guy just so random, he just goes, one of them doesn't happen to be Voorhees, does it? Jason Voorhees? It's like, why? Out of all the people that ever existed.
How would he know that, right? Like, and then you have that guy, the one guy in the who's like, he's going to be an expensive piece or whatever if you keep him, you know, in good condition. It's like we could sell him or. There's so many like plot holes in this shit too, man. It's so dumb.
So David Cronenberg,
pretty wild.
Famed director David Cronenberg makes a cameo appearance as Dr. Wimmer, a scientist involved in Jason's initial capture and cryogenic freezing. So here's some trivia for everybody out there. Betsy Palmer was doing a play in Toronto at the time Jason X was filming. According to Palmer, one of the producers contacted her about possibly reprising her role as Pamela Voorhees, most likely in a hollow simulation. They did not come to an agreement, and the character was not included.
That would have been trashy, but I would have liked it kind of.
That would have been weird.
Be a hologram and be like, Jason, mommy loves you. You know, it's like something weird like that, and then getting him to like, because they're trying to lure him in, which. You know, you get we might as well mention now, you get the best scene in the entire film, man. Best scene of him just whacking those cheerleaders against the tree.
So yeah, like we just said a second ago, David Cronenberg's cameo was done as a favor to his former protege, James Isaac, who directed the movie, for loaning his Canadian-based production crew to him. In exchange, he wanted to be killed on screen.
Nice.
Kind of mad.
Film in Canada, it is cheaper, realistically.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do it. Um, the virtual 80s simulation scene included in the third act as a distraction for Jason
Oh,
was
yeah.
originally meant to be much more detailed, including a number of topless women playing volleyball. One idea even included the appearance of Pamela Voorhees, Jason's mother, and went so far as to have Jason attack her, showing the extent of just how evil he had become. The
Mm.
latter idea was regretfully dropped when Betsy Palmer turned down the role. And I think the reason she turned down the role as well specifically was money. It was like, nah, I'm Pamela Voorhees, so like I need to get like a nice chunk of change.
Well, and she's already doing she's on stage, right, in a play. Probably making okay money from that. I'm disappointed.
Here's a very interesting fact though.
Why couldn't we
While
have
the film,
topless women?
I know, right? I
That
know.
would have been great, dude. Why not? Well, if we could get 2 lesbians or whatever they come on. That would have been
When
fun.
we have that stuff where it's like the nipples falling off and all, that's what we get.
Yeah, it's not that great compared to like how many, Friday the 13th movies used to be like, tits, ass, and drugs or whatever.
That was something I noticed actually though at one point there. It was like they crammed all the weird, like sexy stuff into like one
One
kind of
scene.
cutscene. Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
everyone was like having sex or doing weird shit all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Just to fit it and
Which
be
is
like,
kind
this
of
is what
strange. It was all
most
spliced
people.
together.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, it was just weird. So while the film was a critical and financial failure in its initial release in theaters, it made more than triple the cost of production in DVD and post-theater
Ah,
sales.
interesting.
This is wild. Statistically, it is one of the most successful Friday the 13th films. Despite initial negative critical feedback, over time it has become more popular among younger fans of the franchise, mainly for its self-deprecating humor and inventive death scenes.
Weird, man. But that's what I said. In the cover, man, at the time of when you could just rent movies, I had someone comment on one of the deep dives, and they're like, "Man, I miss being able to go to Blockbuster. I miss being able to like rent these movies and
And it's like we've talked about so many
things."
times. It was like you were so much more committed, and like I'm really guilty of this as well now because we have so much choice with streaming and stuff.
I don't know how
Like
to
I
plan it, man.
Yeah, like I'll put something on and like I'll spend like 10 I'll sometimes I don't even get past the opening credits. I'm like, "Oh, garbage, next." And like
That's what I'll do. I have like OCD about it.
and then like what ends up happening is I've wasted 90 minutes where I could have watched a shitty movie and had fun talking about it. I've wasted 90 minutes watching 5 minutes of 100 movies.
Yes. That's so funny. That's what I do. Where
It's
the wife's
just
like,
like
"Can you just pick something?" I'm like, it's gotta be kind of good though. But I do find a lot of things coming out now are pretty trash. Like they all have an agenda or something. It's just like not really just thought out and fun, like it used to be. I think it's not as good as it used to be. There's
and
still
like that
something sneaking through, but
yeah, and it's just so much harder to weed through now and like I
there's
don't know,
so
I
much
just
content. There's so much shit.
yeah, and like it's
I
like
ain't
you
gonna
said
watch
the idea
Netflix.
of going to Blockbuster or somewhere, it was I don't know, it felt like it was like an investment because like you said, like even if you came across Jason X and you saw the cover and you were like, "Oh, I need
Awesome.
this." And like you get it,
Yeah.
and even if the film was garbage, you were
You
still
have to
committed to
finish
watching
it.
it several times.
You have to finish it. Here, there's I want to like so this is an example. I think it was called this, or is it? Oh no, I guess not. I'll try to find there. So this is an example for everybody watching. And share my screen. And so this was a movie that me and my friend rented because of the cover. It was called Sick. It had this clown face
Pretty
on
cool
it.
cover to be fair.
Pretty awesome cover. Looks cool, right?
I even
It
like the back of it.
was Yeah, it was god awful. It would be very funny to do a commentary on it just for fun because I remember watching it when I was like young or whatever. Um, But like this is one of those movies that caught our eye. It was in the back of the like convenience store. And I was like, this looks scary. So we rented it. And it literally looked like a guy filmed it in his backyard with a camcorder.
I kind of appreciate the hustle.
I know, because like I would do that. It's just like, wow, I was in a movie, whatever. It made, $5,000, whatever. Because realistically, we rented it. So who else is renting it?
And you know what? The funny part is, like, I'm not saying that they made millions or anything, but he probably made a decent amount of money because all it took was to have a cool box, and it was like
done. You can
done.
do that with a lot of things. You just need to pay a little bit for the graphic designs. Pretty gnarly. Look at how fucking. Sorry.
So that
Sorry.
was from I had written this down somewhere now and I can't find it, but that is from
a Chuchitu.
Yeah, what language is that?
Tutti dev I don't know, like Spanish.
Let's see.
They put the Freddy versus Jason thing on it. What?
Yeah, this was something I was wanting to bring up. That's Italian. So
I said Spanish, close enough. They're the same shit.
There was something about the release of this, and they used Freddy versus Jason to like re-promote this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, they do some sketchy things, man.
Yeah, it's
that's why I love when we used to, like, especially like we did on the Nightmare on Elm Street. Not as much on the and Scream, but we didn't do as much on the Friday 13th deep dives. It's like the different countries that like promote posters, and it would be funny. I don't know if there's like a thing where it's just like repurposed films. Like if we could ever do something like that for the show. I don't know if that exists, but like I'm sure it does for some regard. Is like, when they have like Asian Superman or something like that, and it's just like it's so horrible. It would just be funny because I wonder how many horror movies they've done that with that we could find and do a watch on like a marathon thing. Because realistically, right, like there's got to be like an Asian Jason or something, or like something along the same lines.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine so. There has to be.
There's definitely toys and stuff that they've repurposed and like be like, it's Geraldo or whatever the hell.
Here's the backstory for this poster. I will post this on socials as well for anybody who is listening audio only.
It looks like an X-Men logo.
So so this came from Italy, and there was four different versions of like the same poster kind of. They just switched out some of the still shots. So the Jason X Italian 4-poster set features images from the movie, but if you notice in the upper corner of each poster, you will see Freddy Krueger's claw and Jason's machete from Freddy vs. Jason. Why would that be on Jason X posters, you wonder? Well, Jason X was not released into theaters in Italy when the film was scheduled to have its worldwide release. It was thought that the film wouldn't do good business, and it was excluded from the theatrical release list. Yeah. However, when Freddy vs. Jason was released in 2003 and brought in huge crowds, it was then decided that Jason X would be released into theaters after the fact in Italy. When the posters were sent out to market the release of Jason X, the Freddy vs. Jason art was used to promote the film also.
That's so funny. They'd be like, what the fuck? What is this? What
so random.
I try to do like a Mario. But it is funny because like you could just you try to bring people in. I'm surprised because like Italy seems to be, like I said, they got that they didn't have ratings right on horror movies for a long time.
Yeah.
You go see whatever, but it's funny. And I was thinking, how it's like JX, it's Jesus X, right? Because Jesus is Jesus. Jesus. Come on, it's funny.
I didn't know actually that I think they filmed this in like 99 or 2000, but I think it got delayed for like 2 years because of financial difficulties. So like they kept running out of money. And then they didn't, I think whoever was supposed to distribute it were like, seems a bit garbage, so probably pass. Wow,
that's pretty wild. And like imagine trying to cut, because who knows the amount of stuff that they film. Like I don't know. I don't have the DVD. I would like it for my collection. Have all the other Friday 13th movies, but I would like to see like the deleted scenes. It's so funny because I'm sure they have so much more that they didn't choose to
Yeah, probably.
cut in to actually make it into the like a film process. Because like I don't know, it just seems like they were throwing poop at a wall, just trying to see what stuck.
And you're kind of right. If you listen to Todd Farmer in the director's commentary or whatever, to be fair to him, I'm actually kind of shocked as well that they managed to put that on the DVD, like just considering some of the stuff he said. But he kind of like
This is garbage. Why did I do this?
he kind of makes fun of the whole thing in the sense of, and like it's like widely known that the whole movie was conceived because he pitched just a basic idea to the studio, going, why don't we send Jason into space as like a kind of a like haha thing? And the reason he done that, I didn't notice, but supposedly the reason that he pitched that as like a joke was because they were freaking out so much because at the time Freddy versus Jason was like still in developmental hell.
Yeah.
And that was like their sole focus. And like they had nothing, and it was like, well, we need to make a movie. And he was like, why don't we like send him to space? Everyone else has done it. And they were like, do you have a script? And he's like, yeah. And I think he just like went home and just like made up a script and was like, here you go.
Why can't I have an opportunity like that? I'll give you something.
I know, right?
Ass. That's
And to be honest, right, if I had made something like this, I would never let that go.
Yeah, I know it's pretty bad.
What
do you think about Uber Jason though? What is your like actual thoughts about Uber Jason? Because I did write down I like Uber Jason, but I also hate it.
Yeah, same. I feel like I love the concept and the idea, but at the same time, I'm just like, it's fucking. I kind of hate it at the same time.
Stupid, man. And like I don't know, man. There's part of me that liked it as a kid, right? It's cool, it's different. You see it on the poster. It's just like just a different way to do the mask. I don't really know how else they could have done it, but like the half black suit, that's weird, man. I don't know. I want to like it, but something in my soul is telling me it looks awful.
I kind of like the design of the mask, how like they kind of kept the concept of being a hockey mask, but then it was also like futuristic. But then that's like you said, then I also feel like I'm like, oh, this is like the Hallmark version of fucking like sci-fi Jason.
Yeah, and I don't know, and the whole like there's certain parts you can see like just how the suit is kind of made. It just doesn't look. But when he first comes out, and he's like breathing, and the problem is though, watch it again, everybody. You want to watch it again? He has cross eyes. His eyes are crossed throughout when he becomes Uber Jason, and he has these red like some sort of like Sauron's eye looking eyes. It's some demonic looking eyes, but the way that the contacts are in, it looks like he's cross-eyed.
It does actually, yeah, now that you mention that.
Bring up a picture of this guy.
There's actually a part where I think sparks or something fall down on top of him, and he's quite brightly lit. I remember that, and I remember looking, I was like, he's going, wait a second.
I know. Jason.
Kind of. There's times as well when I look at him, I'm like, he kind of looks like some weird like RoboCop.
I don't like it. That like it's I don't know. There's part of me that likes it, like the brain fit. I don't know, man. It's just I try to like it because I'm like I love Jason Voorhees. Everybody like that. This thing I love this stuff. Here, come on. You got like he even looks kind of cross-eyed there. You just can't see his other eye. The poster is so cool looking though for what it was.
Do you know what I'd love to see?
To look at okay, you gotta admit that looks kind of dumb. It's just because he's like over muscular.
So like leave that on the screen for a second, right? Or I don't know if you can. Maybe you'll have to get out of it again. But leave that tab open, and then bring up Super Freddy as well.
See, I'm just saying, look at that, right? Like it just, I don't know, man. That's funny. This is like just the overexerted muscles. Look at some of this fan art. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's like really like and I feel like
I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I'm like, I don't like it.
Do you know what I think some of it probably was? It was like, how do we make him look futuristic I know what we'll do. We'll give him like an armor, but we'll make him look like really muscular with it.
Yeah.
So here's a question, right? If you've gotten to this point in the episode, who would win between Uber Jason and Super Freddy?
Yeah.
I actually interviewed the guy on the show. He's actually somewhat of a friend now. Who played Super Freddy, Michael Bailey Smith.
Dude, I'd get the action figure. That's pretty cool.
Really good actor. Also played some of my other favorite characters. He played the bad guy in Monster Man, which is that slasher movie about the serial killer that has a monster truck as his mode of transport.
Ever seen it?
Oh, dude, we have to do a commentary on that. It's so good.
That's why the opportunity for the show, right? Like I've said a million times, it's like there's just some things that I haven't chosen to watch, and I think it'd be a good idea for first takes. That's funny. Jason versus Jason X. I think Uber Jason is supposed to be like 10 times. Oh, here it is. Look at the eyes. It looks dumb, man. There's too much red. It's
He
like
reminds me of something with the big, kind of like Bane with the big wide neck and shit.
Yeah.
It puts the lotion on the skin.
I was trying to think of what it reminded me of, and it reminds me of not even the Tom Hardy Bane. It reminds me of the Bane from fucking Batman and Robin.
Yeah, the nipple Batman. That is literally what it looks like. That's actually a good point because it does.
With the big fat head kind of muscle thing.
It's, I don't know. The more I'm looking at, the more I'm like, I detest it. I don't.
It's weird, right? Because I feel like I love, in a way, I look at the mask and I'm like, God, you know what? That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh, it's also shit.
Okay, who do you have money on though? Super Freddy? Or
that's
Jason?
the question. I'm going to put a poll out, actually, I think, on Instagram and see who comes back. Super Freddy going to win or Uber Jason? Super Freddy's pretty fucking hench as well. That dude was a bodybuilder, a professional bodybuilder.
But it all depends. Is he able to manipulate Jason? You know what I mean? And use the dreams against him.
He also has a cape.
Yeah, he does. So he can fly. He can just fly Jason to the top of the Empire State Building and then just drop him down.
Yeah, but then maybe Uber Jason has a fucking spaceship that can.
He's got a jetpack, man. It's like and just like flies away.
Oh god, it gets worse.
It's pretty trashy. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like I said before, Kane Hodder reprised his role as Jason.
Yep.
He always said that he enjoyed the challenge of playing both a classic Jason and then an upgraded version of the same character.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to say that. You're getting paid.
I know.
The futuristic settings required extensive set designs and special effects, pushing the film's budget and creative teams to their limit. Filmed in Toronto, Canada, it provided a cost-effective location, but also posed logistical challenges, particularly for the space scenes. Well, wouldn't it do that no matter where you filmed, considering you're not in outer space?
Yeah, I know. Put this on screen. Look at his eye. It looks like he's rolling his eyes. So it's
Weird.
the poster for the movie.
Why do they always do that with him, actually? I feel like they've done that with him a few times in like other films as well, and they do it with him, I think, in Freddy vs. Jason. They give him this weird fucking eye thing.
And this is from fthismovie.net. So not to shout them out, but they obviously do not like this movie. If their whole website's like, fuck this movie, I don't like it.
How do you feel about some taglines?
Let's get some taglines. I bet you there's a bunch of goofy ones.
Not a huge amount, but okay, let's run through these. So first up we have this Halloween, meet the perfect 10 in terror.
That is like so cringy and horrible.
And literally has nothing to do with anything.
No.
Next up we have evil gets an upgrade.
I don't know, kind of like it. I kind of like it, you know. Kind of like it, you know what I'm saying?
What about Welcome to the Future of Horror?
It's not terrible. Like I actually don't mind that either. Just because like it just makes sense and ties into
This is personally my favorite. Welcome to the Future of Horror. He's been drowned, chainsawed, knifed, axed, hammered, shocked, burned, spiked, nailed, shot, and frozen. Now he's back for more.
I wouldn't even want to, like, I'd be like, what? I'd get past the first sentence. I'm like, this is too long.
There's some, like, if you had that on the front of a DVD, I'd be like, what is this? It'd be like halfway down the fucking box art. I'd be like, what?
It sounds so goofy, not goofy, but it's like, I don't know. I like this movie, but I hate it at the same time. But if they put it in theaters again for like a weekend and I knew
I go
about
see it straight
I
away.
would go see it. So it's really,
Yeah. There's no point in me saying that I wouldn't, because I would go and see it immediately.
yeah. It's weird, man. It's very campy. I don't know. It's just so strange.
Yeah, like we talked about before, critics were divided, with some praising the film's campy humor and creative kills, while others criticized it for deviating too far from the core elements of what made the franchise popular. It
Kind of makes sense, man.
performed modestly. Yeah, like it only made like about 3 million, I think, at the box office. But then, as we said, it got a cult following, and apparently it made, I couldn't get exact numbers, but supposedly it made bank in the likes of Blockbusters and video stores and stuff.
Well, it's because that cover, man. I kept saying, like, the cover does sell. I remember when it first came out and I was so intrigued by it. I was like, oh, this looks awesome. Wasn't what it was.
No, unfortunately.
Man, there's some weird, cool posters, but some really goofy ones. Like this one is pretty. It's pretty horrible. It's just fun because I love like just different posters and what different people would see if they're like, look at how terrible this one is. Why does his eye look like that?
God.
That's Kane Hodder's eye. There's not like makeup done to it or anything. It's just
part of me wants that.
Bro, there's
You know,
a
like,
there's a
so
GTA
bad.
5 mod and you can walk around as Jason Uber Jason.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I bet you'd buy the action figure though.
Yeah, I probably would actually. Do you know what I do want? I want the mask.
This like this?
Yeah, even that, I'd be happy with that.
Really? I feel like they used to sell the mask. I feel like I remember seeing it at like Halloween stores.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. That's probably why I want it, because I'm like, I've never seen it.
I feel like they had like the head thing. It probably looked like terrible, but like the whole like a mask, but it was like, you know how it's just like all latex and stuff. Some of the kills are pretty decent, man.
Yeah, that's probably the only redeeming thing, is the kills are quite good. The other thing is, right?
Why is he so skinny, weird looking?
This is the thing I was going to say to you. This is my big gripe with it, right? So I like Jason in the movie, and especially I like the first part when he's like,
yeah, it looks pretty gnarly. The mask is different.
Yeah, like normal Jason, whatever you want to call it. But is it just me, or maybe I'm focusing in on it more in this? But am I wrong in saying that Jason is supposed to be kind of like towering over people and like,
yeah, weird,
quite big? But like, so for example, if you look at the two images, the center image, he looks like he has like some weird like cowboy stance, with like the bow legs and whatever, and he's standing on the platform and he's still barely the same height as the dude. And then the image of him as Uber Jason, and he's like what, like two inches maybe taller than the chick.
Yes.
And I'm like, you don't look that imposing.
You should be like 6.5 feet, man.
Yeah, like you should be huge. Like I always envision, like, say, the way he looks in Freddy vs. Jason, or even the 2009 remake.
Yeah, yeah.
Where he's like
the older ones, he looks like a big dude.
Yeah,
like,
he seems like he's like,
yeah.
And maybe he's not, but like they shot it in such a way that it made it seem like he was like this big, massive, like fucking.
It is weird because like he would be shorter than that guy. Obviously, they just made like a wax dummy thing, but it doesn't look that great.
Not really, with like the bow legs and like the weird stance and arms and stuff. I'm like, what?
Oh, I found the perfect here. Here we go. You want this is his eyes for sure. That's why I show this one more time for everybody to piss everybody off. Look at his eyes, man.
Just so everyone can remember.
It's so bad. It looks so bad, man. Like it looks like a cartoon character. Like I don't know why they chose to do the eyes even red like that. I don't know. It's just maybe like white eyes with like no, like, you know, just like a pupil would have looked better. And it's also because the head is so big, and then the mask is kind of small, fit into his face.
Yeah, it's like it's squashed into it.
It's not good, man. They fucked up on this whole thing, in my opinion. I know there's people that love it. I'm gonna say I even kind of love it for what it is, but
It's like I love it and I also despise it.
yeah, it's just like, well, we got what we got, as I said, but come on, it's could have been, yeah. So
I don't know. There's just something about that makes me really uncomfortable. I'm like,
would I have that in the corner of my bedroom when I'm sleeping? Fuck yes, I would.
There's just something like, why does he look so small? Did he always look that small? Like, isn't Kane
No.
Hodder a big dude?
Yeah, well, that's not. This is the dummy thing they made. I guarantee it. Just some like wax kind of figure.
But
And
why even when he's like Uber Jason there at one point, like,
well, she's got her high heels on. Remember that, right?
I don't know. I just then like they need to put her in like fucking flat shoes or something to make it look better, or give him fucking stilts or something, because it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I don't like it either. And like, look at the size of his arm. There's just like so many things about this where I'm like, man.
Yeah, and it's not even like he's like big and scary. It's like it's more like some weird, like goofy looking, like I said, Bane from Batman and Robin. It's like he wasn't scary. He just looked like fucking retarded. Like it didn't look good.
Yeah. I'm not. It's just it's weird. There's so many weird parts of this, and I'm like, I'll enjoy it for what it is. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I love it but hate it.
So out of somebody want to actually, before we rate the movie, who wants to buy me that? It's only 200 euros.
It's the Uber Jason mask. It's kind of cool. Like I'd have it in my collection. You know what I mean? Just that kid wearing. I feel like I saw that somewhere, or I just like looked up a bunch of horror memorabilia, and that's why I know of this stuff. Right?
It's kind of cool. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is this the one?
Click on it.
Oh my god, is that? Yeah, that whole thing is latex.
Yeah, that's the one I saw. I definitely saw that in like a Halloween store when I was a kid.
Oh no.
It looks really bad. I definitely saw that. I know I did. Wow, just like that one. Just Jesus.
What is that?
Man.
That looks like the one on the left. Looks like a fucking. That looks like a mad ball.
Oh, and yeah, I used to love those things, man. Wow, that's
Dude,
so
I have like a couple of them here.
Really? I used to have those as a kid. My mom threw out all my stuff when I was younger. Oh, that's so funny, dude. Wow, that's awesome. I would love that.
I got them as like a Christmas gift one year.
That's so funny, man. Weird. Everybody
I have Freddy. I have Pinhead. I have a dude getting his face ripped off with a face hugger.
That's cool. Wow, it's been so long since I even thought about this thing. That's cool.
I know, right? When I opened them and I was like, how the fuck did you find them, or where did that even come about? And I think they were like, I don't know, they were like away somewhere in a store, and they were like, yeah, we just seen them and we thought horror, you probably liked them. And I was like, no, but these are mad balls. I was like, that's wild.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, actually, that you have those.
It's such a random. That's when shit was cool.
I know. It's not cool anymore.
No.
So what are we rating this?
Out of
I was gonna say something really stupid, so I'm not going to. But it's like frozen smashed heads, robot nipples.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like something space related, but I can't really think of anything, to be honest.
Out of 10 spaceships with Jason on it, I don't know. It's like I don't know. Honestly, like I'll give you my honest opinion, even though I do like this movie and I will revisit it. I don't know, man. I would say like a 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say like somewhere between a 3 and a 4.
Yeah.
Depending on the day I watch it.
But if I'm watching with you and we're having some drinks and smoking some weed, I'd probably love that shit. But
yeah, it's
like
probably way more fun. It's probably like an 8.
Yeah, I know. Like when I'm watching on my own, I'm like, man, like try to write notes, and I'm like, this is so cheesy, it's cringy. It's fun to some extent too. Like I'm not gonna totally poop on this movie. I think that somehow, as weird as it is, we needed it at that time, and it became this cult following film where it's supposed to be goofy. Jason has never been a serious thing, hence why I did that character, because it's like it was never meant to be really that serious. Like I'm sure, like obviously Friday the 13th, the first one supposed to be, maybe the first three supposed to be serious, at least in the eyes of horror fans, of being spooky and a killer watching you and always being around and coming after you. And then obviously it progressed to just dumb, fun, campy movies. That's the whole point of all these films. It's supposed to be like, it's just really for fun, man. You hang out with your homies, go see it in theaters, and you get your popcorn, cut a hole in it. You know, the girl's like, "What's that? Why is it so hard down there?" Stupid.
Yeah, I definitely feel like now the more you've kind of said that, and I'm thinking about it, that this would be so much more fun with like friends, or like let's say you had it out the back with like a fire and some friends over and drinking beers and stuff. Like then I think it would be fun. Or if you had like I don't know, like an anniversary screening somewhere and you were having some drinks with some friends, it'd probably be way more fun. I think when you're watching it, like I watched this last night again, and like I just found it so hard. Like it's a very tight 90 minutes.
Yes.
And like it felt like the parts where there was just dialogue felt like
so
eternity. I was like, oh my God, they've been talking for like 25 minutes and it literally been like 10 seconds.
I agree. And I that's what I felt like when I watched it, that I was like preoccupied with other shit. Writing down my thoughts, but also working on the show. And I'm like, yeah, I get what they're talking about. Okay, next scene, let's go.
Yeah, it's look, I think you're probably right. You probably summed it up quite well, that we probably needed it at this time, and this is like, you know, we got what we got. But yeah, probably not a movie I would advise to watch on your own as something to entertain you, but definitely maybe if you've got some friends, some drinks, or like you're having like a Halloween get together and you want some shit to like throw on in the background, something like this could be a bit of fun when you catch the kills every now and again.
I agree. And that more or less does wrap up our deep dives into Friday the 13th. There will be something kind of special eventually coming for the remakes with an S. Well, let's say that. There's something else we need to cover before that, I feel like. But get prepared, because there's gonna be some fun stuff. I'm pretty excited because we are edging up to Halloween, you know. We're just starting to stroke. We're just kind of getting there. We're just getting hard, you could say.
Oh, I'm gone like full Halloween mode now again. And it always feels like it comes and goes like so quick. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming. Appreciate everyone for tuning in again, and yeah, apologies again for the time away. It was completely on me, but I think I probably needed it to.
Yeah,
aside from like being half dead, I think I needed it just to like reconsider some life choices and priorities and what I actually want to do and don't want to do anymore.
Things happen for a reason, man. And I do thank people for listening. You know, it's without the fans, we don't really have a show. So we do thank you.
Yeah. There's lots of stuff coming. We're going to be consistent. We're going to be weekly again. A lot of stuff coming for both shows. So make sure and stay tuned. And yeah, we'll see you very soon in the next one. Got some exciting things coming up for Halloween, like Tom said. And yeah, peace.
Keep staying horny for horror, they say.
Do stay horny for horror.